Hey guys, welcome to my kitchen. I guess you're asking yourself, what am I doing in here? Well, I got a new product for you guys. Well, or at least it's coming, new product for you guys to look at. It's kind of going to be more of a kind of a review / configuration video for you guys. Well, the folks over at Weaved have developed a very new platform and a new way of interfacing with Internet of Things devices. What they have done is they have made their smart plug, is what they're starting to call it. Basically, I think you guys all have used one of these devices. This is one of those cooking devices. For me, the one that I have right here is a crock pot. I'm sure everyone is familiar with a crock pot. Basically, you put your ingredients in, like roast or stew or some types of soups or cheese dip or whatever. You put in these things, kick them on low. If you want to do low and slow, like roast or something like that, where you want it to be real tender, or you put it on high, and it only takes about 4 hours to cook the food inside. So it's two different things. So you got basically 8 hours on low, 4 hours on high is generally the recipes and whatnot. But here comes a problem with that. The problem that we have is a lot of times, at least I don't know about you, but here in the U.S., it's general custom that people work 8 to 5 generally. That's basically what I do. Of course, my job is all over the place, so sometimes I'll be up all night doing stuff and whatnot, and won't get home till 2 in the morning or something like that, depending on what is going on, or if I get called in. So anyway, but generally speaking, on average, most people work 8 to 5 or 9 to 5, whatever it is. Mostly it's 8 to 5 jobs. Well, the problem is with that is trying to get the crock pot set properly, because generally you want to leave, at least where I'm from, you leave around about 7 to 7:10 to 7:30, something like that, to get where you're going, because you got to make a commute too. And so trying to figure out, especially if you're wanting to do a roast or something that takes a good 8 hours to cook, because that's the only way to roll, is if you got the time, put it on low, everything will come out wonderfully. And so be beautifully tender and juicy and everything. If you're cooking roast or you're doing a beef stew or something like that, everything will be, the flavors will meld properly and everything will be great. Well, anyway, the problem is you kind of need to start this around maybe like 9, because that way you have 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then about 5 o'clock is the 8-hour mark. Or you might really even start it later than that. Start it around 10 o'clock, so that way it'll be ready by 6. Here in the U.S., 6 o'clock is generally dinner time, generally, at least I've talked to most people that I know, or at least here in my state, it's around 6 o'clock. So 5, 6 o'clock, so 9 or 10 o'clock. Well, if you have to be at work at 8, well, there's a problem, right? Now, most of us solve this problem by either having another person in the house, whether it be a wife or a husband or a son or daughter or another sibling or so in the house with us. We tell them, hey, turn that on before you go to school or before you go to work or whatever. Or we'll solve it with good old electronics. Now, here's one that you can buy. I'll see if I can get up close and show it to you. Okay, so that light is bright up close. Anyway, what this guy is this is basically a settable, timed plug, is what basically it is. It's got a little plug on the back, and how it works is you can set it to, you can turn the outlet on manually. It's got a little switch on the top that'll manually turn it on, or you can set this little guy, you can set a time on it. It's a little timer, and then what you do is you turn it off, which kicks it to the timed feature, and then you set the time that you want, okay? And then you're gonna take your crock pot here, you're gonna take the plug, plug the crock pot into this little guy, like this, and then pop it in to your receptacle on the counter. Then once you do that, if I can get it in there, come on, baby. Oh, polarized plugs. So anyway, since I have my other thing plugged in the bottom, I'm not gonna show you, but you plug this guy in, okay? And then switch it on your low, and then when the time crosses, kicks it on. When the off time crosses, kicks it off. Pretty simple, right? Well, we can do cooler than this, right? We're in we're in the world of technology now. We're in the Internet of Things world, right? This is 2015, right? And of course, probably when you watch this video, if you've seen it, it might be 2016. I don't know, or further out. But still, here is the fun little weaved power smart plug is what this little guy is. This little guy is basically, it's a receptacle that plugs in to your receptacle on the back. I don't know if you can see that. Plugs in the receptacle, okay? And then it has a receptacle on the front. The difference is the receptacle on the front of this guy is controllable. There's a relay inside that controls this guy. Now, you can control it by the button on the top. I don't know if you can hear that. There's a button on the top that you can control this with, or, as you've probably guessed it by now, it is an Internet of Things device. And Weaved, being the cool people that they are, have set this up where you can have, with their, just like, I don't know if you guys caught the Christmas episode that I did where the Weaved has the Internet of Things software and whatnot for the Raspberry Pi, the BeagleBone, and I think there's another one that they have it for too, where you basically just install this software on your Raspberry Pi, create an account, which is free, on their website, and then they link up to each other, and you can be anywhere in the world and get to your Pi and run the web IO Pi stuff. You know, so your custom scripts to control your GPIO. It's basically what this is, but they've gone a step further. You don't even have to configure all the web page stuff or anything. They've got it all configured for you. All you have to do is take this guy, you set up some config on him, and then you set up your account on Weaved, connect the two together, and you are done. You're ready to go. And you can basically access the web page that's already installed, comes pre-configured on this guy, and you can turn this plug on and off from anywhere in the world. Which the first thing I thought of was that solves this problem and this problem. You just take this puppy, plug it into there, smack it into the wall. If I can get it to plug in, plug that sucker into the wall, and you're off and running. And then from your smartphone, from your tablet, from your PC at work, from your PC at the hotel you're staying in, no matter where you're at, you can turn this sucker on and off. So pretty darn cool, especially for us tech geeks. So what we're going to look at is we're going to look at some other applications for this. This was just one that brought to mind, but we're going to look at some other applications, as well as we're going to check out how to set this up and how to configure this, and I'm going to show you just how easy it really is, as well as there's a couple other features that it can do besides just turning things on and off. So hope you enjoy this. We'll get to it. Okay guys, so I've got my iPad here. Sorry about the lighting. I tried to get a screen recording software and it just wasn't working out, so I was just going to go with this. So what we got going on here is I'm going to go to my settings, and on my Wi-Fi, as you can see, it just found the Weaved device. So I'm gonna tap on that. Trying to do this through a viewfinder is interesting. So now I'm connected to it, and so if I were to tap on the information button, it'll show that I'm on its network. Its network is 192.168.252.120 is my IP address. So I'm on its network. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and escape out of this. We're going to go over here to Safari. And then in good old Safari, we're going to click up here. We're going to go do a 192. It may already have it. There it is. 252.1. That is the base IP address for the plug. So we're going to go to that. And then it's going to give us this little web page, which is very nice. So what we're going to do here is we're going to type in the network. We're going to put in our SSID. So I'll put in my 1, and then we're going to do network password. Now I'm not going to type this in. I'll be back in just a second. Okay, so I got that all typed in. Selected the encryption. I also want to use a static IP address. I set the static IP address to be 192.168.151, and then the default gateway, which is my router's gateway. So now we should be able to hit connect. And then in a minute or two, what it should do is basically it will send all these settings to the plug, as well as it should stop that network, which that network, when it drops out, my iPad should auto reconnect to my main network, which is the one that we've configured here, and it should hitch it back up and go back to normal. So while we're waiting for that to happen, I am going to shift gears and switch from this camera. I'll probably switch back to the PC. So, oh, there it is. It looks like it finished. So now we should be on the new network. I should be able to hit home here. And the plug should still be working, I believe. Maybe. Yeah, I think I have to go to its new address now. So anyway, let's go over to the PC, since this is kind of hard to see. So we'll go over to the PC and check it out from there, now that we're connected up to my home network. Hey guys, alright, so we're back on the PC here, and what we're going to be looking at is I've went ahead and gone to the 192.168.51, and it brings up that same web page that we had seen before. Now I can click this and turn it on, and I can click it and turn it off. So it's pretty slick. So now, what we're going to do is we're going to see if we can't hook this guy up to the weaved network type situation. So first of all, I like being able to SSH into my devices, right? So the thing we're going to do is we're going to set up SSHing first. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this. We're going to bring up the good old putty, and they're telling me that we got to do a telnet session first. And then once we do the telnet session to set up the root passwords, then it'll disable itself and we'll have good old SSH. Alright, so let's fire up the telnet. Oop, it's over here now. Hopefully this is big enough for you guys. So there we go. So there's our telnet session. So now all we got to do is set our root password. So we're going to do a pass wd, enter. We'll change password. Let's see, what should I make it? I think I made it. Yeah, we'll just do this. It was too weak. Well, that's okay. It's still going to take it. Voila! So anyway, so there we go. We got, that should be changed now. So now we should be able to exit. This is very important though, because it is kind of a mess if you set the wrong password or you forget your password. Because the minute we exit, it disables the telnet. So when it disables the telnet, that means we can't get back into a telnet. We only can do SSH, and I'm not sure if there's a way to recover the password. So anyway, I don't know if you can like boot this into single user mode. I really have no idea. This is using the openwrt type library, which those of you that don't know what that is, really fast. It's basically router firmware, more or less. It's like an open source router firmware. So like, you know, when you buy the little Linksys routers or whatever, and the software that's running on them that makes it work or whatever, it's basically what it is, except this is Linux based, and it actually has a lot of functionality, quite a bit. It's actually pretty darn amazing. I'm not really using it actively, but you know, from what I've read, what I've looked into it since I've been shown this device, it's pretty darn cool, guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and exit out of that. Now we're going to go grab our putty once more, and we'll make sure that the SSH does work. So I'm going to fire up the old weave plug. We're going to use SSH this time, which hopefully will come up properly. Of course, I have to accept the keys. Gives me my login. So log in as root, and should be able to do my password. There we go. Now we have... There we go. Now we have our terminal access for SSH. So okay, so that gets the SSH set up. We'll put that off to the side for now, because first of all, we're going to have to set up our link to our Weaved account. So first off, we need to log in to our Weaved account. So I'm going to pull that over here, and we're going to log in. In fact, I'm going to log in over here. Not that I don't trust y'all. But anyway, if I can remember my password, I may or may not remember it. Oh, hey, looks like I remembered it. The cool thing about this is, remember how on the Raspberry Pi you had to install all the software and all the stuff onto the Raspberry Pi before it would work? Cool thing about this guy, it already comes installed, and the minute that you get the thing up and running and connected to a router or inter-home network or something like that, or a type of network that is connected to the internet, it automatically figures itself out. And so here we go. So see, you can see it right here. It says HTTP device, you know, Weave smart plug devices on your network, yada 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 yada. All right, so it's asking if I want to set up. You can set up both services. HTTP, which means I can get to the that web page and I can click the on-off button, or I can set up SSH. Well, or it may not be or, maybe I think it's and. You can set up the SSH, which means that if for some reason I have to SSH to it or get into it for some reason anywhere in the world, I can use this Weave service to do that, to do exactly that. So let's go ahead and set up the HTTP part. I'm going to hit the register now. So that's going to take us over here. Okay. We're going to give it a name. We're going to say oh, see, I've already done this, so I'm going to call it My Smart Plug 1. Register now. Give that a few seconds to find itself. And so this should register it with their network and set up everything for us. So the device was properly registered and is now restarting. It will be active within 30 to 90 minutes. So check your device listing. All right, let's click on it. Seconds. Seconds, not minutes. I said, yeah. Okay, so that seems to be the way you do it, and this should come up once it's all rebooted and verified and everything, where you should be able to. This will be a link, so we may take and refresh this page. Let's see what happens if we refresh. Hello. Like I said, it takes 30 to 90 seconds, so it may take a minute and a half. There we go. Okay, so it takes it a minute, just a little bit to get going. And so you'll see online at blah, 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 and there's your outside IP address, and there's its internal IP address. So basically, if I click on this, it's going to bring up this screen. Now, what this is doing is this is actually going through Weave's network that's reachable from anywhere. Okay? Sorry, I keep trying to yawn. It's late. Anyway, so if it finally accomplishes, you'll have to excuse me. I'm going to yawn. Okay, here we go. All right, so here's the screen. So you've got your on-off button over here, and I just heard it click. You can turn it on and off from here. So that's how easy it is. It's actually super easy to set this guy up and use him to turn things on and off. So that's that portion. We'll move on to checking out some other cool features that this thing has, but I at least wanted to show you guys how easy it was to get this thing set up and going to where you can work on it anywhere in the world and have the ability to run it. Alright guys, let's check out some other features.